This is Aisha Jana Samir from Javiyani MV and I am here to take your interview. It's an honor to meet you and take this interview. So could you give us a short introduction?
First, Jazakumullah khair. Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here in the Maldives. Um, my name is Mansour Shouman. I'm 40 years old. I have 5 children. I've been married for 20 years. I'm originally from Jerusalem. I finished my engineering degree, my MBA from Canadian universities. I worked for 20 years in supply chain management, engineering, the oil and gas industry, and I did Big Four public and private sector consulting. In 2022, I decided to move to Gaza to live with relatives of my wife and to grow in the Holy Land. I've witnessed the first 6 months of the genocide in Gaza.
Growing up in the UAE before becoming a Canadian citizen in 2006, what childhood memory of your Palestinian heritage led your decision to move your family to Gaza in 2022, despite the shadow of what Israel is doing in occupied Gaza?
So in 2009, this was the last time I was able to be in Jerusalem. Um, I was visiting my father there for a couple of weeks during Eid, and when I was leaving the Holy Land, I got arrested by the Zionist forces. I got put into solitary confinement, interrogated, put into Israeli prisons, and they laid on me several bogus terrorism charges, nothing which was proven, and then they revoked my Jerusalem ID. So I'm not able to go back and live in Jerusalem, visit anything, any land, anything that I own there. I cannot take claim for it. SubhanAllah, I became a refugee like millions of other Palestinians. I always had the goal of living back in the Holy Land. And SubhanAllah, I was in Canada in 2022 with my wife and 5 children. And we realized that it was very difficult to bring up our children in the West. SubhanAllah, the values that are ingrained in the society there, what they're trying to push through different systems, the way you are being taxed, and your taxes can go to aid the killing of Muslims around the world. There's a lot of things that I thought wasn't correct, wasn't right. And SubhanAllah, you only get older, not younger. So I decided, honestly, to make hijrah and to leave this world and live in the Holy Land, live in Gaza. Despite Gaza being over 15 years at that time in siege, Gaza being an open-air prison. And Alhamdulillah, we were able to, it was a little bit difficult in the beginning to adjust to the life in Gaza, but Alhamdulillah, I have a very good wife, and my children, Alhamdulillah, were able to adapt and integrate quickly into the society. These were one of the best year and a half of our lives.
When your wife and 5 children, including your 2 Canadian born children, evacuated to the UAE in November 2023, you chose to stay in Gaza. How did it feel to say goodbye, knowing you might not see them again amidst the war escalation?
MashaAllah, you did your homework. MashaAllah. So SubhanAllah, when the genocide started, I had made a decision that because I'm a man, I'm a Muslim, that I need to stay and help the people on the ground resist this transgression in all ways possible. And I told my wife and my children that, SubhanAllah, my decision is I need to stay. However, if the opportunity is there for you to leave temporarily until a ceasefire is agreed upon, and then you need to come back and we need to stay strong and steadfast on our land. We cannot repeat the mistake of our grandparents that left our land thinking that it's just temporary and not come back in 1948 and 1967. So, so the thought process was, it's okay, they will leave in November temporarily, because previous wars that happened in Gaza didn't last for more than 2 months. So I told them, maybe, you know, you will come back in December or January. So inshallah, we will meet again very soon. However, as weeks passed by, you realize that the Zionist plan is not just a war to bring back their hostages. Their plan is to force 2.2 million Palestinians to leave Gaza, because at the end they have a bigger goal. They want to realize the greater Israel plan, which extends from the Nile River to the Euphrates River and from South Turkey to Medina. So it's not just about Gaza. Gaza is just the first of many projects. But alhamdulillah, the people of Gaza continue to inspire the world with their resistance, with their strength, and it was an honor to be there with them during that time. Yes, it was difficult to say goodbye to them in November, but we remained in touch through the internet on a daily basis. And at the end, subhanAllah, sister, I just came back from burying a grandmother. We will all die. We will all die one day. So the question is how we will die, right? Where we will die, on what we will die. So the fact that if I'm selected as a martyr on the Holy Land for this just cause, it's an honor, alhamdulillah. Yani Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala promised us one of two things, either materialistic victory or Jannah, right? So alhamdulillah, why not?
Your mother spoke of your deep faith sustaining you in Gaza. What personal ritual or moment of reflection, perhaps a prayer or a quiet thought, keeps you grounded when the horrors of genocide loom?
So my mother is a source of strength and pride, and subhanallah, yani, a lot of the, I hope, the good characters that I have come from her. Despite, you know, fearing that at any point she might lose me, you know, she still kept strong and said that, you know, men stay in Gaza, they don't leave Gaza, especially during these times. Yes, sister, subhanAllah, there's a lot of humanitarian horrors and a lot of people that are killed and a lot of injuries. We have over 30,000 orphans who lost one or both of their parents. Over 80% of residences have been destroyed. Over 90% of the medical complexes fully destroyed. All our schools, except for a few, remain standing. All our universities, all our government buildings have been destroyed. There's no water network. There's no electricity network. People suffer from malnutrition. Even if there is food, the food that is available isn't sufficient or isn't nutritious enough. These Zionists, they calculate every calorie that goes into Gaza to make sure that they barely keep the people alive. So it's not easy. And every day, subhanAllah, I get the news that I lost a loved one, someone that I knew. And however, if you stop and reflect, you will be at a very bad place. Yani you need to continue to work and act, you know, continue to pray, do dhikr, and yani the time to reflect on all this will come later, inshallah. Right now, I think we are at a time of war, and the brothers and sisters in Gaza need us every moment of the day to do the action that can, inshallah, help them.
Over 120,000 people signed a petition for your safe return during your January 2024 disappearance. How did it feel to learn your family and supporters globally rallied for you, and what personal strength did you draw from their love?
This is the first time I hear about this petition from you. MashaAllah. شوف sister, alhamdulillah, yani, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala used me to create awareness about what is happening in Gaza and Palestine. This is not about Mansour, but I'm happy to know that when Mansour disappeared from social media, you know, people put a lot of pressure thinking that I was kidnapped or taken away by the Israelis. Again, if I recall correctly, this created a lot of noise and a lot of pressure on the Canadian government, not only to act to see what happened to Mansour, but also to act to help the people of Gaza and Palestine in general. So it's very important, subhanAllah, that such petitions continue for everyone that is missing in Gaza and for people that we know are prisoners, right? We know of the medical doctors, the university professors, of hundreds and thousands of civilians that have been kidnapped without any trial, that are being now persecuted, that are being put in solitary confinement. You've seen the pictures and the videos of how they get treated in the prisons. You see how they're malnourished. So we need to continue to raise our voices for all those who are imprisoned in Gaza and in Palestine in general. We have over 10,000 Palestinian prisoners. Alhamdulillah, as a result of the hostage exchange, a lot of our women and children were freed, but they've been able to take in even more prisoners, especially from the West Bank. So we need to raise our voices. And in Islam, one of the big wajib, one of the big things that we all need to work on is to free our prisoners, to free our hostages. This is a wajib. This is something that we all need to do. During the time of Al-Khilafah Al-Abbasiyya, one woman was taken into custody, and the Khalifa Al-Mu'tasim, he heard that this woman said, "Wa Mu'tasimah," like, "Oh Mu'tasim, where are you? Come and save me, get me out." So Al-Mu'tasim, even though he wasn't the best leader, he wasn't like, he did a lot of sins, subhanAllah, but because he was true to his religion, to his ideology, he was carrying the concern for the ummah, right? And because he had free political will, he directed and led a great army from Baghdad towards Europe, just to free that woman. As a result of that request that came from her. So right now we have thousands of our prisoners. So we need to act, we need to do something. For me personally, alhamdulillah, I was never taken into custody by the Israelis. I was able to ensure that I remain away from any kind of surveillance or any kind of opportunity for them to place any harm on me. And alhamdulillah, when things became safe again, I was able to go back on social media and to continue the work that we started earlier, and together with the humanitarian efforts.
As a father of five, what small everyday moment with your children, maybe a laugh or a shared story, do you hold on to or to keep going through Gaza's struggle?
My children every day they ask me, "Baba, when do you think we will go back to Gaza?" You know, they really feel Gaza is their home. They have wonderful memories. They have relatives. For the first time ever, we actually bought a house in Gaza, so they feel that they have a place they can call home. We have an apartment there. Um, so, like really, even the small one, Ibrahim, he keeps saying, "Baba, please, let's go back to Gaza." Even though they're living at a very good life standard in Doha, in Qatar, but for them, they understand that this is all artificial. Like, they want to be back with family. They felt the blessing of the Holy Land. One of the memories there is that we had a cat named Milo that lived with us in our house. And because of how strong the bombs were dropping, I think the cat one day got so scared and just ran out of our apartment, and we were never able to find him. So subhanAllah, when I said goodbye to my children in November, the younger ones, Maryam and Ibrahim, I convinced them that I should stay. I told them, "Look, if I don't stay, then who's gonna find Milo, right? Like, someone needs to take care of that poor cat." So like, "Yeah, you're right, you need to stay, you need to find Milo." So subhanAllah, yani, children are a blessing, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala use them, inshallah, for the upcoming struggles that this ummah will go through.
With your family now safe in the UAE, how do you carry the emotional weight of protecting them from far while witnessing the relentless genocide unfolding in Gaza.
So when they first left Gaza, the goal was to, again, have them temporarily stay in Egypt and then come back to there. But when we realized that the war will escalate and take more time, they went to the UAE because my family and her family, we have relatives in the UAE, so she could stay with them. My wife had to take a full-time job in order to get a work visa and to have to live in the UAE illegally, something which she didn't do before. And subhanallah, my children did online education, and but subhanallah, there was a lot of support online and in person. When they know that, subhanallah, my wife and kids are in the UAE alone, a lot of people, without asking, they would give their support emotionally, financially. They're saying anything, whatever you need, just tell us, and we're ready to help and support. This is how much people all around the world want to do something, right? Even if they're not physically available in Gaza, they know that they can still help by doing other things. So I strongly encourage, people around the world, if they know of people who have family in Gaza, support their families outside. It will mean the world to them, especially those that are engaged in humanitarian work and civil society, trying to care for the people there. Uh, I think that my wife, subhanallah, was very strong in her faith, because twice, once she heard that I was taken into custody by the Israelis, and another time she heard that I was killed. So her family asked her, to go into mourning. She has to stay 40 days in our house, and she was like, no, I'm only hearing rumors and news that he got killed. If you don't show me a body, then I don't believe. I believe that my husband is still alive. So Alhamdulillah, even when she thought that I might have been killed, a lot of people told me that she was very steadfast, she was very strong, and I'm very proud of her. And she's the resemblance of what a wife, what a woman in Gaza is at the end. SubhanAllah, their genetics are different, the people of Gaza, because also historically Gaza has always been a battlefield for civilizations, even before Islam. So the people there are used to fight and to protect. And Gaza means, it comes from the word yaghuzzu, which means like to be like some kind of a thorn, right? So alhamdulillah, yeah.
Your social media subscribers grew a lot by sharing Gaza's crisis. What sparked the fire to become a journalist amplifying Palestinian voices to millions?
Before October the 7th, I didn't have social media accounts. Like I said, I wasn't a journalist by trade. I was an engineer. I had a business degree as well. So, and my field was very different from what I'm doing right now. But when October 7th happened, and a week later, I noticed that the Zionist propaganda, especially in English, was very biased. It was sending a lot of lies about Palestinians, that they were beheading babies, that they were raping women, and there was no counter narrative from people inside Gaza. A lot of professionals were afraid to talk in the media because they were afraid of being targeted, or their apartments or their families, said don't just, they were like, there was a lot of pressure for people not to appear on media. So that's when I decided I should volunteer and start appearing on different TV networks. I appeared over 85 times on different channels like Al Jazeera, Russia Today, Fox News, BBC, CNN, different Canadian channels, Australian channels, different European channels, Channel 4, in Arabic, on different Arabic international channels. So that's when I started to be very engaged in that. And to answer your question, then people told me why aren't you on social media? I was like, isn't that a waste of time? Because people on social media, they don't really care about this stuff. They care about dancing and twerking and singing and wasting time. They're like, no, no, that generation now is saying free Palestine. And how you talk and what you say, especially with the Islamic principles of things, is very important during these times, especially for that generation. So I had volunteers create for me my different social media accounts, and many times they got closed, and we had to reopen it. And there was a lot of red tape on social media. My TikTok at one point had over a quarter of a million followers. That got closed down. Instagram had over 350,000. But again, I never cared about the numbers. I would record the video, send it to my team. They would post it. I don't even see myself again, what I said. Like, I don't look at I just do the work and khalas. I remember once we had a hashtag, I stand with Palestine, and one of the initiatives we did was to ask the world to say the name, I stand with Palestine, and the country. And that hashtag on TikTok alone, after 36 hours, had 1 billion mentions. 1 billion mentions. So I realized that the power of social media, right? And that yes, it can be used for negative, but it also can be used for positive. And I think social media was the game changer in this conflict, because the Zionists control the media, but they aren't able to control social media and what people are seeing from the ground in Gaza. They're trying their best, but they failed.
You raised over $2.7 million through your GoFundMe Global Urgent Gaza appeal to distribute food, water, and tents. Can you share a story of one person whose life you changed that still haunts you or inspires you amidst the genocide?
Alhamdulillah, after doing a lot of work um, on TV, on social media, people were telling me, Mansour, you're telling us we should donate. We're donating to these international NGOs, but they're finding a hard way to program in Gaza. Our goods are stuck behind the border in Egypt or Jordan. Things aren't going in. This was very early in the genocide. And I was telling them, this is not my area. I don't do humanitarian work. Right now, I want to be focused on getting the word out in English. But a point came where I thought that no, we need to do projects, we need to get money in, we need to help the people, especially in the north of Gaza. I used to live in North Gaza, in Gaza City, but I moved to the south in Nasser Hospital, and the brothers in the north were suffering a lot. So I said, Yalla, Bismillah. So I created teams across different areas in Gaza with people that I knew before the war, and we started doing the work. We had a lot of channels to get money in. One of them was the GoFundMe page, and until now we have registered over 500 different projects across Gaza since the start of this genocide. All documented on my YouTube page and the GoFundMe page. Alhamdulillah, we've been able to touch the lives of hundreds of thousands of people. We're caring for over 5,000 orphans. We have 3 different big education facilities in the north, the central and southern regions for children. At one point, we were covering the costs of running many hospitals and medical checkpoints. We are every day running hot meal programs across Gaza. We have trucks that deliver drinking and clean water across different camps throughout Gaza. Sometimes when I get the videos in order to show our donors that the work is being done on the ground, it's very touching to see that, alhamdulillah, that we were able to be a facilitator to get the money safely from the donor outside to that widow inside who's thanking the donor for, alhamdulillah, getting the money that will enable her to continue to survive together with her children. So there's a lot of alhamdulillah work that is happening in Gaza, and again, we need to continue to push this. If we want to focus on the negatives, it's very easy to do that. But subhanallah, there is always a way to do work. There's always a way to do something.
On January 21, 2024, You vanished for 2 weeks after sending a video from a checkpoint between Han Yunis and Rafah. What kept you fighting through the terror of evading Israeli tanks and snipers?
So I never made a video from a checkpoint, and I never tried to leave Khan Yunis. Basically, I was overseeing one of our projects. We were building temporary shelters in an area, and then suddenly the tanks encircled the place that we were doing our work in, and we had to leave that area and go inside the ruins of Khan Yunis, where we spent 2 weeks there. Uh, it wasn't easy because we had to get rid of our technology. We had to move from home to home. There's no electricity. There's very little food in the places that we used to enter, and there also like we didn't know what was going on because we didn't have any connection to the outside world. However, when it was safe to do so, we were able to leave the area and make our way back into the hospital.
With Palestinian journalists facing detention and danger, how do you bear the fear of being targeted while documenting the genocide in Gaza while the truth tellers are often silenced?
This it's If you decide to become a journalist in Gaza, this means that you know what your fate will be, and you have to accept it. You have to accept that at any point you'll be targeted and killed. This comes with the job, right? This is part of the job responsibilities. So you're ready to meet your creator at any time. You take some like you try sometimes to take some precautions when doing the work, but like I said, if they wanted to target you and kill you, they can easily do that. So you have to just be mentally ready at any time to be a target. And I remember when I decided to volunteer and to be a journalist, the people that my wife lived with told me that Mansour, you're now a target, so you can't come back and stay with us and with your family. You have to stay in Nasser with other journalists in a tent there. We can't have you stay with us. So it comes with the job.
From your tent near Nasa Hospital, you reach millions with interviews like the one with Al Jazeera journalist. What was it like to know you were Gaza's voice during a genocide what shattered countless lives?
Again, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asked us to do the work. He didn't ask us for results. And even if no one heard me, even if one person heard me, even if 1 million heard me, it's good that we take actions to reach more people, but even if no one listens to me, that doesn't mean that I'm doing a good or a bad job. Like for me, I need to do the work. It doesn't matter if 1 million people hear me, 1 billion hear me. For me, I felt it like a responsibility, something I had to do. I have to do it. Also, it was a big opportunity to do da'wah, because a lot of people were asking, about Islam, what keep the people in Gaza strong, right? They wanted to learn the secret of the steadfastness of the women, right? So I felt that not a lot of people in English were talking about the ideology of the people of Gaza. So I tried to use my social media accounts to shed light on that, and I had daily live interviews on TikTok, on Instagram, on Facebook, on even LinkedIn with the different leaders of different spaces who wanted their audience to know more about Gaza and what is happening there. So for me, I felt it was like a responsibility, it was an obligation.
Your 100 Lamb project provided fresh meat to starving families. How did seeing their gratitude amidst Gaza's food shortage strengthen your resolve to fight the effect of this crisis?
You are reminding me of the projects. Wow, it's been a long time. I remember this. Yes, the 100 Lamb project. So we had several new projects that we would present to our donors to contribute towards. One of them is we had the opportunity to buy 100 lambs. So I let the people outside know. Alhamdulillah, the amount was collected, and we were able to distribute those lambs to the people in need who didn't have meat for many weeks at that time. Alhamdulillah, people were very grateful because it's tiring and it's not healthy for people to continually have canned food and processed food. Again, this was during the early days of the genocide. Right now, if people find canned food, they're grateful for it. But during that time, it was rare to be able to locate and provide such an initiative to the people on the ground there. So.
Can you share your experiences of leaving Gaza and what have you been doing since, such as traveling to share Gaza's story with the world?
So when I left Gaza, I tried to balance between my profession. So I took a consulting job in Qatar with the political advocacy and the humanitarian work and the media work. I was appearing on Al Jazeera English a lot as well. But together with the responsibilities of caring for my mother, my wife, my 5 children, it was impossible to balance everything. So I decided to take on a consulting job with a digital marketing agency that also has a humanitarian arm called Humanity. And Alhamdulillah, I'm now full-time focusing on doing humanitarian work in different countries around the world, including Gaza. Whenever the opportunity arises, I try to talk about my experiences there, talk about what we need to do to help the people on the ground, be the voice of those that don't have the voice in Gaza, to talk about what's happening there, and to also encourage people to continually take action, to do whatever they can to help the people on the ground. MashaAllah, here in the Maldives, you guys are doing an amazing job through organizations like IAC. And mashallah, now you're helping sponsoring the flotillas that are going to hopefully get into Gaza over the next few days. So inshallah, keep doing what you're doing. Amazing.
How are ordinary Palestinians coping with the ongoing humanitarian challenges like food shortage and water crisis or displacement?
I mean, subhanallah, every person has a different story. Like people, subhanallah, Palestinians, we aren't just numbers. Like people, for example, have been working for 20 or 30 years in order to build an apartment, and then this apartment is bombed within few seconds, right? People would have been married recently and then they lost their wife. People would be waiting to have a child for over a decade and then they would lose that child. People want to feed their family and they cannot find the food. There's a lot of very emotional and very hurtful stories that are coming out of Gaza. And but at the same time, sometimes when I feel down, I actually speak to the people in Gaza and they give me encouragement to keep going on because of their faith, because of their iman, because of their personality, right? Gaza is like Maldives. It's a flat beach. It's very small in area, and it should be militarily very easily conquered. It's just an open space, right? But subhanallah, despite 2 years of not only facing Zionists but facing countries supporting them, they're not only surviving, they're also resisting, and they continue to inspire millions of people around the world.
Can you explain the current situation of Gaza?
The current situation in Gaza is that right now we're in the middle of August 2025. The Israelis are openly now talking about taking over north of Gaza and pushing the people towards the south. At the same time, there are ceasefire negotiations happening in order to release some of the Israeli hostages versus aid to come into Gaza, and for there to be a temporary ceasefire in place so that people can move around and can do some of their important daily business that they aren't able to do. And also in order to allow very, very important aid to go inside Gaza. In addition to that, hostages will be also freed from the Palestinian side. Again, the priority is always to free our prisoners. So whenever possible, we try to push towards that. Let's see what the days will come up with. The situation eased a little bit when it comes to the humanitarian side, but because there was a lot of pressure on Israel, because especially Al Jazeera was able to show through their journalists like Anas al-Sharif, Allah yarhamu, that there has been a hunger, that there has been famine in Gaza, and as a result they put a lot of pressure on Israel to allow some aid and some commercial goods to go in. Things change every day, news changes every day, and sometimes there's a lot of rumors, so we need to be sure that we get the news from the right sources.
What can Maldivians as an individual and as a nation do for Palestinians?
So, subhanAllah, first of all, continue putting pressure on your politicians and leaders to take action. Continue demonstrating on the ground. Continue to talk about Gaza in social media. Continue to boycott Zionists and the corporations that support them. Continue to empower the youth and educate them about what's happening in Palestine. If you're a Muslim, learn more about your religion, and also teach others, like others. SubhanAllah, this is a golden opportunity for people to learn more about Islam and to help save them not only in this life but the hereafter. Have the intention, inshallah, to join the people of Palestine on their land. This is not a Palestinian cause. This is a cause for all of the free world, a cause for all of Muslims. Palestinians have been placed there, yes, but again, that doesn't mean that it's not a cause that is a priority for everyone around the world, including Maldivians, mashallah. I've heard it many times from Maldivians that Maldivia and Palestine are one. So alhamdulillah, it's good to know that this kind of sense of one ummah is there, despite them trying to differentiate us with our passports and those fake borders. So alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, renew the intention of why you are doing the work that you are doing. It's important that we do the work for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His pleasure, and do things according to Sunnah.
How important it is to raise voice about the genocide.
It's very important. That's what changed the game. That's what changed the narrative this time. If it wasn't for the people on the ground in Gaza who became some kind of citizen journalists, and if it wasn't for people like you and thousands of others around the world that continued to share and post and tweet and create videos and talk online about what is happening, we wouldn't be getting the same counter narrative to the Israeli propaganda. At the end of the day, we have seen such struggles in different parts of the world, and the end result is that people achieve their freedom. Look at what happened in South Africa. Despite them being labeled as terrorists, right? Nelson Mandela and his compatriots at the end were able to free the country and to get rid of apartheid, right? So similarly, the people of Palestine are going through that same struggle in our modern times, and inshallah they will achieve their outcome. The question that we have to ask ourselves is, what is our role? What is my role? What is your role? What can we do to add value? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't need us. We need Him. And we need to make sure that we are being used for this noble work that is happening right now in Gaza and the places around Gaza. Don't forget that, subhanAllah, as per the UN, we have a lot of, subhanAllah, humanitarian casualties in Gaza. Right now, 20% of the children have some kind of disability, physical disability, because of the war that is happening there. It's tough, but again, uh, what makes it sometimes easier to comprehend is that, as Muslims, when we read the Quran, when we read Surah Al-Isra, the first page, it talks about the second coming of the Zionists, and it talks about how they will spread evil and injustice and killing in the region. So, and we know the outcome of it. The outcome of it is victory for those who are righteous and for the Muslims. So we know the outcome. When it will happen, how it will happen, who it will be happen with, this is with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But for us right now, we just need to try to be a part of this and to add value and to do whatever we can. So thank you very much for this opportunity. It was an honor to be here with the people of Maldives. I've learned a lot, mashallah. You have an amazing sense of community, an amazing sense of awareness to what's happening in the politics around the world, and a sincere love for Palestine. So again, Jazakumullah khair wa barakallah feekum.
Thank you for giving Javiyani the interview, and it was a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you, Jana. Appreciate it.